on a buzzer beater in 1963. But the bigger story with that was they were the first team ever to start, first major team with success, to start 4 black players. Back in the early 60s, there was a gentleman's agreement. You're only going to start 2 black players, and you're only allowed to have 3 black players on the court if you're trailing and you got to come back. Loyola Chicago's coach decided, I want to win. He recruited 4 black starters. They started in the entire run of that tournament. In fact, in the Sweet 16, the year they won it, they played Mississippi State. Mississippi's governor at the time prohibited the team from going to play. They had to sneak that team out of the state to go play Loyola Chicago. So while the story of Sister Jean is great, the story that Loyola Chicago is going for its 2nd national championship in school history. We all know the Glory Road story, Texas Western against Kentucky. That was 1966 with 5 black starters. If you talk to the players on that team, that is not possible with the 1963 Loyola Chicago team. And so I'm glad maybe more people are learning that story now.
No, the only reason that we love the Sister Jean story is because it's, oh, how shall I say, shorter.
Well, fair enough. That's fine. But I think at times it's important for people to know the history of what they're watching.
Also shorter.
That's what they've come for, Jenna.
Is that it?
Doesn't Nick always tell you, does the audience know? So, like that.
Yeah.
What was it, Sister Jean? She's what?
The story short.
Shorter. Back to the, but only by 8 minutes, so that's good. Back to
that
the
was
NFL.
shorter than it was earlier.
I know. It's like half the story. But we love the story, Nick. He's going to get mad at me. The 49ers traded for Jimmy Garoppolo and gave him a ton of money, which was a pretty good plan. Turns out they had their eyes set on a different quarterback, Kirk Cousins. According to their GM, John Lynch,
Ryan. And what Matt Ryan said when Kyle Shanahan went from Cleveland to Atlanta and took over one of the most talented offenses that we've seen. Also became one of the most prolific, but in the first 2 years there was a lot of growing pain. Kyle runs one of the most complicated offense there is. It's a lot of verbiage. The plays are very, very long, and the quarterback doesn't necessarily have the type of control at the line of scrimmage that other quarterbacks in the league have. So Matty Ice talked about struggling in that system. So I can understand Kyle getting his first opportunity as a head coach, him and John Lynch having their contracts matched up. So they're life and death together.
They both got 6-year deals.
Yeah, so he needs his quarterback. As an offense coordinator, as a play caller, he needs the quarterback that he's comfortable with. He knows that he's not going to get a chance to be successful without one, and he's comfortable with Kirk Cousins. So for me, it makes sense. And there's so many things about Jimmy G that we did not know. And it's obvious in what they fetched for him. New England got a 2nd-round pick. So obviously there were a lot of teams out there who didn't have that type of faith in Jimmy G. I can tell you this. If Kirk Cousins was get traded for this offseason, he would have fetched more than a 2nd-round pick. So I believe Kirk Cousins is just as good or a better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo.
I think that who's going to have the better year in 2018? Probably Kirk Cousins. He has the better talent around him. He is the more established player. He has 3 years of really high production as a starter under his belt, as opposed to Jimmy G, who has a third of a year of production. But I still think the Niners, I think the Niners got the quarterback that's better for what they're trying to do. They got the younger quarterback. They got at least the slightly cheaper quarterback. And they got a guy that I think his now contract matches up with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, because he got a 5-year deal. Those guys got 6 years.
One reason why they traded for Jimmy G wasn't for last season. They didn't know if they could get Kirk Cousins.
Exactly.
They didn't know that he would be a free agent like he was. So that's the reason why they didn't know.
I mean, I think that's a key point, is that if you have the opportunity to get Jimmy Garoppolo, who I do believe, by the way, eventually could very well supersede Kirk Cousins in like the quarterback rankings, if you care.
Yes.
But even if he's not better than him this upcoming season, to use a cliche, it's bird in the hand. Like, listen, we can go get Jimmy Garoppolo right now, or we can enter in with the Jets and with the Vikings and with whomever else.
Yeah.
And I want to add one other thing. The Niners are on an attractiveness level similar to the Jets if they don't win those 5 games at the end of the year.
Of course.
You know what I mean? When we talk about the Jets having to pay that type of money, I understand they might have a better infrastructure and a better history of a franchise. I get that part of it. No question. But they, as far as the wins and losses, like, do I think I can win games here? They were pacing to have a worse record than the Jets in 2017 before Jimmy G
Also,
started
we
playing.
can't forget the 40-something starts that Kirk Cousins had in Washington, and also his durability. He wasn't playing with great personnel, so we can't.
He has to start from the beginning, basically, with Jimmy Garoppolo, as opposed to a guy like
Was comfortable what he was going to be able to do in the offense, but been able to install that offense and giving him real live game reps. That really helps speed up the learning curve, because studying in the film room compared to live bullets
Super Bowl in 2018 is not what they're talking about there. They're talking about getting the team back. Jimmy G, and we have to look at the Vikings truly, credibly believe we can go win a Super Bowl right now. So have the quarterback who's better right now, and the Niners, I think, are more talking about than this tenure of Lynch and Shanahan, where they've got at least 5 years left.